Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first February 2026 Automotive News Review. I'm bringing you a deep dive into two major stories shaking up the premium and sports car world. First up, the biggest and hottest topic right now, Porsche and the potential cancellation of the upcoming electric 718 Boxster and Cayman. Since the Bloomberg article on February 2nd, rumors of outright scrapping the EV project have intensified, with new CEO Michael Leiters apparently ready to reverse course. We'll cover the origins of the electric bet, the technical setbacks, starting with Northvolt, the sales drop in China, the billions wasted, and the fallout for Porsche, Audi, and the premium sports car industry. Then, as our second topic, the massive facelift of the 2026 Mercedes S Class, unveiled in late January in Stuttgart. This is way more than a simple refresh. Mercedes reworked nearly half the car to try and revive a sedan whose sales have halved in 3 years. We'll talk about the engines, gas, plug-in hybrids, with up to 100 kilometers of electric range, the still sky-high prices, the fight in China against BYD and others, and the pragmatic strategy focusing on absolute comfort and practical features rather than full EV. Two stories that really show how much premium luxury and sports cars are being reshaped in early 2026, caught between slamming the brakes on full electrification and forced adaptation to ultra aggressive Chinese competition. If you enjoy this kind of content and want to catch the next analyses like this one, feel free to subscribe and hit the bell. It helps the channel a ton for future videos. Thanks in advance. All right, let's jump right in with the Porsche news and the next generations of the 718 Boxster and Cayman. Since early February, a wave of reports, kicked off by Bloomberg's February 2 piece, has rocked the car community. The all electric versions of these iconic sports cars look more threatened than ever with outright cancellation. It all started in 2021 with the Mission R concept, unveiled at the IAA Mobility Show in Munich as a tech showcase for electrifying Porsche's compact sports cars. The brand announced that the successors to the current 718 Boxster and Cayman would be fully electric, built on a new dedicated PPE Sport platform developed with Audi and powered by high-performance batteries from Northvolt. The launch was set for mid-decade, with production of the current gas models winding down by late 2025 to make way for these zero-emission successors. In 2022, Porsche officially confirmed the future 718S would start as EV only, targeting sales from 2025 to 2026. This fit into Volkswagen Group's massive EV push after the Taycan 2019, the electric Macan launched 2024, and the electric Cayenne production starting early 2026 with a 113 kilowatt hour battery delivering over 600 kilometers of range. The 718 was meant to bring electrification to Porsche's more accessible, younger buying crowd compared to the 911 faithful. Northvolt's bankruptcy late 2024, the Swedish partner for high-performance batteries, was a major blow. Porsche had to find a new supplier and overhaul much of the vehicle's development, which was already well advanced. The launch slipped to 2027. Meanwhile, camouflaged electric 718 prototypes were spotted on German roads as far back as 2023, showing progress but with mounting delays. By September 2025, with EV demand stalling, especially in sports cars where buyers cling to combustion engines, Porsche made its first pivot. The 718 lineup would go multi-energy. High-end gas versions, evolutions of the GT4 RS, Spider RS, or similar, were added to offset development costs and meet stronger real-world demand. The PPE Sport platform, originally EV native, was extensively reworked for combustion engines, a complex, expensive job requiring a full rethink of the floor pan, rear compartment, fuel tank, and exhaust systems. Porsche is paying a high price for its EV gamble. Sales are tanking in China, a key market where local premium rivals like BYD, NIO, and Xiaomi have become fiercely competitive. In the US, import tariffs are hurting exports. Overall, EV demand is cooling, with government incentives dropping in many countries. Porsche announced a strategy correction that will reduce its operating profit by nearly $2.1 billion in 2025. Factories are running under capacity, and the brand has to cut costs hard. In this environment, the current 718s, phased out by late 2025, sold over 23,000 units in 2024, plus 15%. Without an immediate successor, Porsche risks a gaping hole in its entry-level lineup, losing younger or less affluent conquest buyers who can't jump straight to a 911. On January 1st, 2026, Michael Leiters became CEO of Porsche, succeeding Oliver Blume, who stays as Volkswagen Group CEO. At 50, Leiters has an impressive resume: over 13 years at Porsche, handling Macan and Cayenne, 8 years as technical director at Ferrari, then CEO of McLaren from 2022 to 2025. Known for his expertise in high-end sports cars, often hybrids, he's seen as the right guy to steady the ship in turbulent times. According to a Bloomberg report dated February 2nd, 2026, internal sources say Lighters is actively considering the cancellation of the electric 718 variants. Development costs have escalated, billions invested, including a chunk to adapt the EV platform for gas, with delays making the tech potentially outdated at launch and profitability for a niche model looking out of reach. A plug-in hybrid alternative is on the table, but it would require heavy redevelopment, grafting a gas engine onto an EV base, adding more delays and expense. It echoes failures like the Honda NSX hybrid, which arrived too late against the Ferrari 488 GTB. If cancellation happens, it'd be a historic waste. Billions sunk into an EV platform, then adapted for gas without ever selling the battery version. Symbolically, Porsche, as the ultimate sports car benchmark, could have legitimized EVs in this segment and boosted the market. Pulling out sends a strong negative signal to purists and other makers. The uncertainty also hits a related project: Audi's electric sports car, derived from the 2025 teased Concept C, due late 2027. It shares the same PPE Sport platform. Without Porsche volumes for scale, its profitability could suffer. Porsche hasn't commented officially. Markets reacted positively. Stock up 0.6% in Frankfurt after the Bloomberg report, seeing the refocus as good for profitability. But shares are still down about 9% since early 2026. In summary, the electric Porsche 718 Boxster and Cayman project is now at serious risk of being cancelled. New CEO Michael Leiters has to weigh exploding costs, extended delays, and weak EV demand, especially among purists loyal to combustion engines. If it gets axed, it'll be a huge waste for Porsche. Billions poured into an EV platform, then reworked for gas without ever selling the battery model. It would leave a hole in the entry-level range, cutting off younger, more accessible buyers. But the ripple effects go further. Within the Volkswagen Group, the same PPE Sport platform underpins Audi's upcoming electric sports car, the Concept C. Without Porsche's volumes, its economics become increasingly fragile. On a broader premium industry level, this pullback highlights a shift. Several makers are recalibrating EV plans amid slower than expected adoption, favoring hybrids or pure gas to protect margins and their sporting DNA. We'll have to wait for Later's final call in the coming months. For now, gas prototypes are moving forward, and a plug-in hybrid could emerge as the most realistic compromise. Now, for our second topic, let's talk about the 2026 Mercedes S-Class facelift, unveiled in late January in Stuttgart. This is easily the biggest update this model has seen in years. We're talking about roughly 2,700 parts changed or improved, making it feel more like a half new generation than a simple refresh. Mercedes didn't do this lightly. S-Class sales have nearly halved in 3 years, dropping from 90,000 units a year in 2022 to under 50,000 in 2025. They had to act against surging Chinese competition and a fast-changing luxury market. Mercedes stuck with a classic varied engine lineup. No full electric version here, that's left to the EQS. You've got 6-cylinder gas engines for the more sensible models, around 300 to 400 horsepower, and a strong V8 in the S580 pushing 537 horsepower and 750 newton meters of torque. The two plug-in hybrids now deliver up to 100 kilometers of electric-only range, which is solid for a big sedan like this. 6-cylinder diesels stay in the mix for markets that want them. Everything's been refined for smoother, quieter, more efficient operation, and rear-wheel steering is now standard, making this massive limo way easier to handle in tight spots. Prices stay sky high, often well over $170,000 for long wheelbase loaded versions. A premium positioning, but it's getting tougher with 15% US import tariffs and China's lower luxury vehicle tax making European imports pricier. They really have to prove the value against rivals that cost 30 to 40% less. China has become the decisive market. Younger buyers no longer automatically see a big German sedan as the ultimate status symbol. They often go for local models that are super connected, loaded with driver aids, and priced aggressively. Mercedes counters with a rear cabin turned into a true mobile office, seats that recline deeply, individual 13-inch screens with cameras for video calls or movies, and hands-free city driving aids that already work great there coming soon to the US. Europe lagging a bit. Competition isn't just BMW 7 Series or Audi A8 anymore. In China, BYD, Zeekr, Huawei, and Xiaomi are the real threats with high-tech sedans at unbeatable prices. Mercedes dropped the true Level 3 autonomous, too expensive and underused, for a more practical Level 2 that's hands-free in traffic and actually useful day to day. No full EV on this S-Class, but a stronger push on hybrids and gas, which better matches what many buyers in this segment still want. Inside, the atmosphere is even more refined. The new Mercedes operating system makes everything smoother and smarter. The giant passenger screen lets you watch stuff without distracting the driver, and there are even heated seat belts that warm your body directly, a clever touch that boosts comfort, safety, and efficiency in cold weather. In short, this 2026 S-Class leans on what Mercedes does best: exceptional comfort, commanding presence, and everyday useful tech instead of superficial, gimmicky novelty. It arrives at a time when premium luxury is being shaken by China and full electrification isn't taking over everywhere. If it reclaims its spot as the undisputed benchmark, it'll give the whole brand a major image lift. We'll see in the coming months if buyers respond. We're reaching the end of this first video. If you like the content and want to support the channel, a like would be greatly appreciated. Thank you for watching all the way through. See you soon for more analyses.